غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع ذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما كذبوا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فأخذنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجر وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلية إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما خلقنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا شمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر والليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاع إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آيات من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا من أطعموا ولو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في السور فإذا هم على الأصداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتاز اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد زل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مزيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننقصه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول وللكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله سورة مباركة الفاتحة.
حال مریض اے میرے سرور نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے کہتی تھی لیلا بیٹے کی زلفیں سوار کر کہتی تھی لیلا بیٹے کی زلفیں سوار کر میرا ریاض اے علی اکبر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے برائے اشک آنکھوں میں پانی کو دیکھ کر برائے اشک آنکھوں میں پانی کو دیکھ کر تشنگی شہ دلے مضطر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے بچے کو لے کر جب چلے شبیر خیمے سے بچے کو لے کر جب چلے شبیر خیمے سے ماں بولی میری محنت اصغر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے کہتی تھی یہ تصور اصغر میں رو کے ماں کہتی تھی یہ تصور اصغر میں رو کے ماں دادی کے پاس پہلوئے مادر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے کہتا تھا شمر چادر زینب اتار کے کہتا تھا شمر چادر زینب اتار کے اے دل کہیں سکینہ کے گوہر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے ماں کہتی تھی کہ یاد رہے میری تشنگی ماں کہتی تھی کہ یاد رہے میری تشنگی کوثر پہ مجھ کو اے علی اصغر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے عیشی و سر جدا ہوا کس طرح شاہ کا عیشی و سر جدا ہوا کس طرح شاہ کا تا عمر وہ روانی خنجر نہ بھولنا کیوں کر جدا ہوا سرے کہتا تھا ابن سعد کے تربت کو کھود کر کہتا تھا ابن سعد کے تربت کو کھود کر اے شمر کاٹنا سرے اصغر نہ بھولنا क्यों कर जुदा हुआ सरे, सरवर ना भूलना गम शाहिदी का ए दिले, मुज़दर ना भूलना क्यों कर जुदा हुआ सरे। मोहम्मद सलवात।
محمد وآل محمد صلوات. Can you please Surah Fatiha for all the Marhumin, Surah Mubarakat al-Fatiha. Can we invite the Mawlana to member to loud Nar Surat Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad Salawat.
رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين غير المغضوب لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وبه نستعين وهو خير ناصر ومعين. الحمد لله الفرد الأحد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد، ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وطبيب نفوسنا مولانا بالقاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتخبين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله الحكيم في كتاب المجيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون؟ صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Respected Mu'mineen, first and foremost, I would like to extend my heartiest condolences on occasion where we are commemorating the martyrdom or the Shahadat anniversary of our 10th Imam, Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And indeed, the aim and objective behind commemoration or the celebration of infallible is to inculcate their teaching into our life. And one of the aim is to understand the situation of that particular Imam and implement the character they played or they presented at the situation. When it comes to our 10th Imam, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, you find Imam al-Hadi life was very difficult life in terms of the masa'ib, in terms of the constrained condition which is provided to Imam by the rulers of those days and that time. When we look at the life of Imam, you find that Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he spent 34 years after the demise of his father. Or in other words, we can say the period of the Imamah of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is 34 years. Out of 34 years, Imam alayhi salam, he spent 14 years or 13 years in Medina after the demise of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. and 21 years Imam alayhi salam is spent in Samarra. When Imam al-Jawad depart from this dunya, so Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he remain in Medina, and 13 years, 14 years he spent there, and he conveyed the message of Islam and the teaching of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam to the community. But finally what happened when the Mutawakkil Abbasi comes, and he come to know that Imam al-Hadi slowly and gradually he is getting popularity among the people. So that is why Mutawakkil Abbasi, he could not tolerate that fame and name for Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. And then he decided to send Harthama ibn Yahya, one of his, envoy, to Medina, and forcefully, and ask him to bring Imam al-Hadi forcefully to Samarra. And Samarra, he situated and he located Imam in a place where he can has sharp eye, whether he can has, strong surveillance on the Imam. And that is why when Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu salam was forced by Harthama ibn Yahya, or the person, who was sent by them. So Imam alayhi salatu salam, at that juncture, he showed to people that Imam Ali al-Naqi is not leaving Medina out of his wish. He is forced and he is, compelled to leave the Medina. So historians, they have written that Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he spent these 35 years in 7 different Banu Abbasi caliphs. And who are those? One of them, it is Mu'tasim Abbasi. Number 2, it is Wathiq Billah, Mutawakkil Abbasi, Muntasir Billah, Musta'een Billah, and Mu'taz Billah. So they are, 7 Mutawakkil. There are 7 Abbasi caliph. Imam alayhi salam, he spent his imamat period, imamat time. So before I come to the life of the Imam Ali al-Naqi, so we have to understand what was the situation of the Imam al-Hadi. And this is one of the method, how to understand the life of Imam and how to understand the role, the core role or the major role that particular Imam played. So what we have to do, first of all, we need to understand the character of the ruler of that particular Imam. What was the character and what was their habit? What was what was their method of ruling and method of operation? So therefore, when we look at those, caliph and those Abbasi caliph of the Imam Ali al-Naqi, so you find, for example, Mu'tasim Billah. About Mu'tasim Billah, he was the caliph of Banu Abbas, and in the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, historians, they have written about him that kana ariyan min al-ilm, that Mu'tasim Billah, he was absolutely free from the knowledge. What is the meaning of it? That he was absolutely ignorant person. He did not go to madrasa. And historians, they have written Harun Rashid once upon a time, because he was the son of him. So forcefully he sent and he admitted him in a madrasa, in a school in those days. So what happened? After some days, and Mu'tasim Abbasi is going to madrasa and he is a child. But for reluctantly he is going, because his father forced him to go to the school. So but he was not ready to go to his school. So one day what happened? One of the friend of Mu'tasim Abbasi passed away, a small child. So Harun asked him, "Oh my son, I heard that one of your friend passed away. What happened to him? Who was he?" So Mu'tasim Abbasi, he said to his father, "Father, Alhamdulillah, he has passed away and he got rid from the school, and he got rid from studying." So father, because he's a father, so he started laughing and he said, "Oh my son, in your eyes or in your opinion, study is so difficult that you got rid with that from the studying." He said, "Yes, father, studying is quite difficult. It's very challenging and I don't like studying." And since then, Harun Rashid, he removed him from the school. So that is why historians, they have written that kana ariyan min al-ilm. He did not have knowledge at all. He was absolutely ignorant. Just imagine, they were the khulafa of Rasulullah. They are so-called representative. They are so-called caliph of Rasulullah. Just imagine, they had no knowledge at all. And Quran, when he talk about the khulafa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first criteria Quran says, it is knowledge. It is, ilm. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided Adam alayhi salatu salam to be the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the surface of earth. So what was the argument in between, angels and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Angels, they said, Ya Allah, you are going to make a Khalifa on the surface of earth. The one who is going to, yasfikud dima, would bloodshed. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said? Allah said, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. And then later on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings Adam and the angels into the room of examination. And then what happened over there? Allah presented the asma of Ahlul Bayt. And then Allah tested them. And over there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proved that I have chosen Adam alayhi salam as my success, as the Khalifa for the surface of earth, because of his knowledge, because he has knowledge. And even if you look at the, all the prophets mentioning, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran, he mentioned about the prophets. So what Allah said, that we have chosen them based on our criteria is knowledge. But over here, Mu'tasim Abbasi, he is a caliph of Rasulullah. He is claiming that he is Khalifa from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the Ummah. And kana ariyan min al-ilm. He did not have single, even little bit knowledge about it. Anyway, so this was one of the characteristic of the caliph in the time of Imam al-Hadi. Imam al-Hadi is dealing these type of people, those who are free from the knowledge at all. And the second characteristics, those historians have written about the Mu'tasim Abbasi, this Khalifa, they said, إِذَا غَضِبَ لَا يُبَالِي مَنْ قَتَلْ. His anger, and he was short anger, actually short temper, this man. So historian, they said that whenever Mu'tasim Abbasi get angry, he did not know who he is killing. Actually, he was, when he is angry, when he is furious, he is out of control. He does not have any control. He does not even, he loses his mind. Such a people, they are caliph in the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi Imam alayhi salam. He is dealing with this type of people. And another sentence which is written about Mu'tasim Abbasi, that when he is about to depart from this dunya, so at that moment, he recited the ayah of the Quran, Surah An'am, verse number 44. Over there, he decided. So what is the ayah actually? If you look at the Surah An'am, verse number 43, as well as 44. This man, Mu'tasim Abbasi, when he's departing from this dunya and he's having his last breath, so he's reciting this ayah. But he did not act upon the ayah which he recites at the time of, death. So what he said over there, actually the ayah, in these two ayahs, 43 and 44. What is the lesson over there? Actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we present two type of exam before the human being. The first exam we bring, for human being a difficult situation, difficult moment. So when human being is in difficult condition and difficult situation, so sometimes, people, those who are, not heedless people, so the moment they see difficulties in their life, they are shaken. They awake, and then they come to the right path. So sometime Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there are people, when we put difficult condition before them, so what happened? They do not take any lesson from that difficult condition. But what happened? They are ignorant, they are stubborn on it. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he explained this first condition for the human being, or first exam, so Allah says, وَإِذَا حَتَّى إِذَا فَرَحُوا بِمَا آتَوْا أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْلِسُونَ فَلَوْلَا إِذَا جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when we bring difficult condition before them, why don't they take lesson from that difficult condition? But what do? They do not take lesson. Allah says, وَلَكِنْ قَسَتْ قُلُوبَهُم, because their heart are hardened. Their heart are harsh. So that is why from that difficult condition, from that problem, they do not take any lesson. So this is one reason, because their heart are hardened. Number two reason, Allah said, وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. The second reason why they don't take lesson from difficult moment, because shaitan decorated their evil action. Today, you see, sometimes people, they do evil thing, but they think, oh, they are doing good things, they are doing, hasana, they are doing, a good deed. So this type of things, it comes from the shaitan. Shaitan decorate their evil action. Today, you see people, they slaughter people, they kill people, and despite of, accepting that they did guna, they say, oh, we did something good, because killing people, killing innocent, is like, they are animal, and we are doing something good in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first condition. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings for human being a difficult moment. So if person, he is not heedless, he will take lesson from there and he comes to the right path. But the person who is not heedless, the person who is heedless, the person who has hard heart, so he does not take any lesson and he will remain stubborn on it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, after that first condition, we bring them to guide them to the right path. We bring them into another condition. And what is that another condition? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An'am, in ayah number 44, he said, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرَ بِهِ, that when they forget their difficult condition, and fatahna alayhim abwaaba kulla shay, and we bring so many happiness in their life. First, it was difficult moment. Second examination paper, Allah said, we bring happiness in their life. We open the doors of ni'mat. We open the doors of bounties upon them. Hatta farihu bima utu, until they become so happy. They become joy overwhelmed. So and they become so happy, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that even with this condition of happiness, they do not come to the right path. So first condition, difficult condition. Second condition, we give them a lot of bounties, but still they do not realize that they are on wrong path. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً. Now this is the time where we take, where we hold their neck, where we, send our adab down upon them. So here Mu'tasim Abbasi, at his last moment, he is reciting these ayat. He is proclaiming and he is confessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us into both conditions, in difficult situation as well as in ease condition, but we neglected the examination of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we did not benefit from it. So Mu'tasim Abbasi, he himself is confessing. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, he is living in such a condition. So after Mu'tasim Abbasi, another Khalifa comes, whose name is Wathiq Billah, who was the son of Mu'tasim Abbasi. So Wathiq Billah, when he hold the charge of the Hukuma, so at that juncture, narration and historian, they have written about the Mu'tasim, about Wathiq Billah, they said, Kana kathiru la'akl jiddan. His characteristics, just understand, Imam alayhi salam, Imam al-Hadi is living in the time of these type of the Khalifa. First, Mu'tasim. Mu'tasim kana ariyan min al-ilm. He did not have knowledge at all. Kana man yaghzib. Whenever he is getting angry, so he does not who he is killing. So it was his character. Second Khalifa, it is Wathiq Billah. Wathiq Billah, who is Wathiq Billah? Kathirul akl jiddan. He used to eat a lot. Never ever his stomach is full. Always eating. He was always after food. So it was his, the characteristic of Wathiq Billah. And also the second characteristic, historian, they have written about the Wathiq Billah, they said, Kana a'lamul khulafa. Wathiq Billah, he was the most learned man among the khulafa. Most learned man among the khulafa. Most learned in what? Which field? In field of jurisprudence? in field of tafsir Quran, in field of the knowledge, in field of the ahadith. No. Ulama, they said, Kana a'lamul khulafa bil ghina'i wa darbil aud. He was most learned among the khulafa in playing the music, about the music. And he was most learned, most expert about, beating the drum. These type of people, they were Khalifa in the time of Imam al-Hadi, Imam alayhi dealing with these type of people. Even when Harun al-Rashid depart from the dunya. So what happened? Harun al-Rashid, one of his friends, passed away. So when his friend passed away, so he said, I would like to go on, on a height, and I want to see my troop, my, power, my armed force. So they arrange like a mimbar or like a, height. So Harun Rashid, he goes over there. And when he goes there and he looks at his troop, so he said a beautiful sentence. However, he did not act upon his words. But he said, and it is a system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometime, the truth comes out from the mouth of enemy. So what he said, Ya man la yazulu mulkahu irham man qad za'la mulkahu. Ya Allah, you are the only one whose domination and whose power never ever decrease. Ya Allah, your power is always up. It never ever decrease. But it is a power of human being which always toward the declination. Ya Allah, my power is toward the declination. But still, he's saying beautiful word, but he's not taking any lesson from, from his wording. So, Imam Imam al-Hadi is facing this type of, adamant people, this type of ignorant people. And one side, they were Mutawakkil Abbas, Mutawakkil Abbasi, you also know, a cruel entity of Banu Abbas. And there are so many others, like Musta'in Billah, Mu'taz Billah. Mu'taz Billah was the one who gave poison to the Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. So on one hand, Imam alayhi salam, he is facing these characters in his life. But on other hand, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he had other challenges in his life, other problems. For example, there were so many people, even Shias, they had wrong faith. The way yesterday I mentioned about the Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, that Imam al-Baqir, his own people, they were deviated in terms of creed. They were deviated in terms of the faith. In the time of Imam al-Hadi also, the Shias, they were, distracted from the right path. They started saying that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they are prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. However, it is our faith that the prophethood, it is ended. Rasulullah is Khatamul Anbiya. After Rasulullah, there is no prophet. Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they are Imam, they are successor of Rasulullah, but they are not prophet. So in the time of Imam al-Hadi, people, they started saying that Imam al-Hadi is a prophet of Allah. So Imam has to face this challenge also. It was another, problem of the time, in the time of Imam al-Hadi. There were some people, they started saying that Ahlul Bayt, na'udzubillah, they are God. They took them to the extent of God. They were ghulat, similar to the Imam al-Baqir alayhi time. Also in the time of Imam al-Hadi, there were people, those are called themselves Mufawwida. What is the Mufawwida? Mufawwida, actually, even today we have Mufawwida among the Ahlul Sunnah. Who are Mufawwida? And we have Jabariya also. There are two different sects, Mufawwida and Jabariya. And they were existing in the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. So who are Mufawwida? Mufawwida, actually, they had faith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this whole world, and after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he removes his hand from the world, and now he submitted entire his creation in the hand of angels. No, whatever is happening in this dunya, it is happening out of the wish of the human being. There is no hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This aqidah, it is called tafweed, or those who follow it, they are called mufawwida. So these type of people, they were on rise, on their height in the time of Imam al-Hadi. And they were also Jabariya. Jabariya, who are Jabariya? Actually, Jabariya are those who have faith that human being, he is helpless in this dunya. everything is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever human being is doing, he is doing out of wish and out of will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Human being does not have any will at all. And that is why they say Yazid killed Imam al-Hussein. So it means that there is no crime from the Yazid side. Because Yazid, he was helpless, he was, willless, he did not have any will, and he killed Imam al-Hussein out of the will of Allah, and because he was forced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to kill them. So this type of aqidah, it is called Jabariya. In the time of Imam al-Hadi, people, they are writing letter to Imam, Ya Imam, which madhab is correct madhab, Jabariya or Mufawwada? So Imam alayhi respond them. And in one letter, Imam brought 60 ayat of Quran to invalidate these two aqidah. A person comes in the time of Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, and he said to Imam, Ya Imam, can you please give me answer whether the human being, he has a free will or he is absolutely forced? He does not have free will at all. So Imam alayhi salam, he said, can you please raise your one foot from earth? So he raised his one foot from the earth. And then Imam alayhi salam, he said, can you raise your second foot also from the earth? He said, no, yeah, Imam, I'm not able to raise. I do not have, I do not have ability to remove. First, yes, it was in my, I can raise out of my will. But the second one, I am forced to keep my second foot on the floor. So Imam alayhi salam, this is the right mazhab. In some things you have, free will. There are other things you are forced. So in this dunya, there are so many things you are forced to do. There are so many things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you free will. So that is why the madhab which is called Jabariya is invalidated, and the madhab which is called Tafweed or Mufawwada, they are also invalidated. So Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu salam, he is tackling these type of people. And also there were, there was a sect, or there was a madhab in the time of Imam al-Hadi which is called Waqifiyya. What is Waqifiyya? Waqifiyya, actually, in the time of Imam al-Kadhim, there was some people, a group of people, they raised themselves. And they said that the Imam al-Kadhim, he is the Mahdi al-Maw'ud, he is the last and final Imam. After Imam al-Kadhim, no Imam is going to, these people and these sects, they were emerging from the Shias itself. And Imam al-Hadi is facing this type of challenge in his time. So these people, they stood up and they said that the Imam al-Kadhim, he is the Imam al-Mahdi. And because Imam al-Kadhim passed away, and then they had faith that Imam al-Kadhim is going to be reborn. The way Imam al-Mahdi is going to reappear. They said, no, Imam al-Kadhim, he is going to be reborn, and he will raise the flag of Islam, and he will fill the earth with justice and remove the injustice. So they had this type of faith. So Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is facing. Now, so many challenges Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam he had in his lifetime. How Imam al-Hadi tackled them, actually, many times Imam al-Hadi responded them directly. But the main task Imam al-Hadi performed to tackle all those challenges in his lifetime, ulama, they said there were two things. One is production of the ulama. Imam alayhi salam, he trained so many students, because if all alone he is tackling all those problems, it was quite challenging and quite difficult for the Imam, because one person cannot tackle hundreds of the problems. So what Imam alayhi salam did, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he opened a madrasa and he trained so many scholars. So these scholars, once they are trained, they can go and they can spread their knowledge and tackle the issues in the community. And that is why, one of our greatest scholars, Shaykh At-Tusi Ridwanullah Ta'ala alayh, he wrote in his book, and he enlists 190 student trained scholar from the side of Imam al-Hadi. 190 scholars, and they were trained by Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam to tackle all those problems. So this was the number one, how Imam al-Hadi tackled the situation and the condition of the difficulties of his time. The second method Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam he used, he started writing the scriptures. writing the ziyarat, du'as, and the ahadith. Among the ziyarat, you see, the ziyarat Jami Kabira, the ziyarat, the most, beautiful ziyarah. We can say it's like the ziyarat Jami Kabira is like an ocean of the fadail of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he wrote ziyarat Jami Kabira, which guide people the characteristics of the imama. Today, in those days, people, they were muqassir. They were bringing the Ahlul Bayt down from their status. They were bringing the status and the position of the imama from their, position. So that is why Imam al-Hadi, he wrote a complete ziyarah where he mentioned the characteristics and the fadail of the imams of Ahlul Bayt. There are thousands of fadail. And that is why, our scholars, especially, there is a great alim whose name is Ayatollah Sayyid Hadi Shirazi. So Sayyid Hadi Shirazi, he said a beautiful segment about the Ziyarat Jami Kabira. Actually, Sayyid Hadi Shirazi, he was the alim in Najaf al-Ashraf, and he was on top in regard of knowledge, jurisprudential knowledge, and also in regard of the taqwa. About Sayyid Hadi Shirazi, it is written in his biography that once upon a time he got diabetes in those days. And because in those days there was not that good treatment, so what happened? He lost his eyesight. So when he lost his eyesight because of the severe diabetes, so one of his students comes to him and started consoling him. He said, Agha, mashallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you 70 years. And till 70 years you had, mashallah, eyesight. Now Allah has taken it from you. So you have to be patient. So what answer he gave to his student? He said, you are talking about the patient, you are talking about the sabr. From the stage of sabr, I already passed. I am looking for the stage which is called ar-ridwan, which is called, pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sabr, he said, sabr is something whether you have to be surrendered. The sabr, sometimes you have to practice sabr. You do not have any other option. For example, you lost something. So if you do not make sabr, you do not have any other option. Otherwise, you could get that thing. But if you are not able to get that thing back, so you have no any other option except to do the sabr. So he said, sabr is not a stage. Sabr is a small thing. He said, I am after the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am looking for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah is happy remaining in the state of blindness, so of course I'm happy with the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So such a scholar, when it comes to Ziyarat Jami Kabira, so he says a beautiful sentence about the Ziyarat Jami Kabira. He said, كَأَنَّهَا وَرَدَتْ لِتَصْحِيحِ الْعَقَائِدِ. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he wrote this Ziyarat Jami Kabira for aqaid to be rectified and structured. So it means, our scholars, they are telling us that if you want to structure your aqaid, if you want to, have proper faith about the imama, go and read and match your aqaid with the Ziyarat Jami Kabira. Ziyarat Jami Kabira is a very beautiful ziyarah. And Allama Muhammad Taqi al-Majlisi al-Awwal, the father of Muhammad Baqir al-Majlisi, the one who is author, the writer of the Bihar al-Anwar, his father, he narrates. He says, I was sitting in the haram of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. He said, I was sitting there, and because in Ziyarat Jami Kabira is a ziyarat which you can recite in any haram. He said, first I recited Ziyarat Jami Kabira for the Imam Amir al-Mu'minin, and then after he said, I turned my face to Samarra and Qadaman and I started reciting ziyarat for the Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. He said, when I was reciting the ziyarat, he said, out of sudden I found myself. However, he said, I'm sitting in the haram of Amir al-Mu'minin. But out of sudden I found myself that I'm sitting in the haram of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam and Imam al-Askari. He said, there I'm reciting that ziyarat. And he said, I'm not reciting this ziyarat in tone or in style of ziyarat. He said, I was reciting Ziyarat Jami Kabira in tone of qasida. You know, sometimes when you recite qasida, so you are happy, you are enjoying it, but the ziyarat is something different. So he said, I was reciting the ziyarat Jami' Kabira because it is full with the fadail of Ahlul Bayt. So he said, when I was reciting Ziyarat Jami' Kabira, I was reciting it in the tone of qasida. It's like I'm reciting qasida of Ahlul Bayt. I'm reciting the fadail of Ahlul Bayt. And I was expecting from the others, Nare Takbir or Nare Haidari. So he said, when I was reciting, he said, I observed that I'm sitting in the haram of Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. And in the haram of Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari, the Imam of my time is sitting. And he is listening to that qasida or that ziyarat. And when I was reciting, Imam was smiling and he was appreciating the fada'il. He said, I told to Imam, Ya Imam, what do you say? What do you say about the ziyarah? So Imam said, it is a beautiful ziyarah. It is a beautiful text about, us Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Then Allama al-Majlisi, he said to Imam Zaman, he said, Mawla, isn't it the ziyarah of your grandfather Imam al-Hadi? Imam al-Hadi created or mentioned this ziyarah. So Imam Zaman, he said, yes, it is a ziyarah which is reported my grandfather Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu wasalam. Risayullah salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu wasalam, he tackled the situation with two things. One, with production of the ulama. He created like a hawza, and he trained ulama. And second thing, by writing the ziyarat Ghadiriya, ziyarat Jami' Kabira. Ziyarat Jami' Kabira is a beautiful ziyarat. Our ulama, they are regular about recitation of the ziyarat Jami' Kabira. Ayatollah Bahjati used to recite. Even, Ayatollah Khomeini in his lifetime, every day, Ayatollah Sayyid Hadi Ash-Shirazi, Ayatollah, Qummi, every day, they used to recite Ziyarat Jami' Kabira for the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Why? Because it is an ocean of understanding and the fadail of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So that is why, it is recommended by our ulama that if you want to understand the fadail of Ahlul Bayt, you want to understand the, you want to take some, drops of understanding of Ahlul Bayt, you have to test, this ziyarah. Ziyarah Jami' Kabira, amazing ziyarah. Assalamu alaikum ya Ahl Bayt al-Nabuwa, Mu'adi al-Risala, Mukhtalaf al-Malaika, Mahbit al-Wahi, Wat-Tanzil. So many, fadail are mentioned over there. So Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he created this beautiful ziyarah. And also ziyarat Ghadiriya. Again, amazing ziyarat. One day, inshallah, and our ulama, they have written so many interpretations for ziyarat Jami' Kabira. There are so many volumes. Those are written about explanation, about interpretation of this ziyarat Jami' Kabira. So this is how Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam tackle the situation in his time. And despite of that, yesterday I told you that how Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam tackled the issue of akhlaqi issue in his lifetime, and how Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam tackled the issues of social problem of the society and community. Even with all those things, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is tackling the problems of his Shias, social problem of his Shia, financial problem. Once upon a time, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam was in Samarra. And what happened? A person, follower of the Shia, however, he was not that much attached with the Ahlul Bayt, but still, he comes from Kufa. Kufa, and the distance between Kufa and Samarra, it is very lengthy. So he comes from the Kufa to meet the Imam al-Hadi, and when he reaches to Samarra, he did not find Imam at home. Imam was out somewhere, so he goes after the Imam, and he finds Imam. So when he finds Imam alayhi salam, he said to Imam, Ya Imam, I'm in debt of 30,000 dinar. Ya Imam, I was thinking, where should I stretch my hand? I did not find a better person than you to stretch my hand before. So Imam alayhi salam, he said, Wallahi, I have nothing in my pocket, anything right now. So, but I will help you. You promise with me that you will accept my offer. So he said, yes, yeah, Imam, I would accept your offer. Imam alayhi salam, he said, can you please bring pen and paper? So this man, he goes and he brings pen and paper. So Imam alayhi salam took the pen and start writing that me, Imam al-Hadi, is indebted of 30,000 dinar of this man. So this man, he said, yeah, Imam, you are not, makruz, you are not madyun of me. I am asking for the help. Imam said, yes, but right now I have nothing with me. But there is no problem, even, Sharia. You have loan over you. You have loan on your shoulder. I'm taking that loan on my shoulder. I'm taking your burden on my, shoulder. And I'm writing it. Tomorrow you come and present this paper in front of my, followers, in front of my lovers. They will, help you out. And he did the same. And he goes, next day he comes and he presents that paper that Imam, he himself has written that he is indebted 30,000 of me. So those who were, well-wisher of those who were, lover of the Imam, they, paid all that money. This is how Imam al-Hadi, used to help the people, and how he used to present the social services for the people. And of course, our ulama, they have followed it. Once upon a time, I was reading the biography of Ayatollah Marashi Najafi. Marashi Najafi, he was a great scholar in his time, and you may, if you go to Iran, you find that he, mashallah, established a beautiful library. His library was #1 library in the world. And that library, actually, he established, or he bought all the books which are existing in that library out of his labor, or out of, because he did not have any source of income. He did not have any factory or any, business. What he used to do, Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, in his lifetime, he used to keep fast of ijara. He used to pray the namaz of marhumin on ijara. And out of that money, he used to purchase those, books in his lifetime. Just imagine, and he was so famous in his time that Marja al-Taqlid, he is keeping fast of your marhumin. People, they are paying money, and with that money, he is buying and he is purchasing the books. So one day, a man comes to Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, and he was asking for money. And he said, Agha, I'm in need of money. So Agha did not know him. So Agha wrote a letter to one of the tajir, one of the businessmen, one of the community member, that I am sending this man. You give him the salatul ijara, namaz, or the fasting of your marhumin, and give him some money. So this man, he took that letter and he goes to the particular mu'min, and he said, Agha sent me, and he is endorsing me that I am a right person. So that man, he gave him money, and he said, this is 1 year namaz money. You can keep this money and pray 1 year namaz of my marhumin. So after some days, or after a few days, that businessman, he comes to Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, and he said, Agha, you wrote a letter for a person. Do you know him? Because I'm doubtful about that man. Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, he said, no, I did not know him. But he was in need of money. That is why I wrote letter to you. And the namaz which you gave him, I am praying that namaz in his behalf. Just imagine, this is how, Ahlul Bayt, they taught us. This is how our Maraji, they are following the footstep of, Aimmat Ahlul Bayt, alayhi salatu wassalam. So Imam al-Hadi, alayhi salatu wassalam, he tackles situation with different things. Sometimes he is helping out the people. Sometimes, he is writing letter, and he is using his abru, he is using his, dignity and honor for the sake of the community. But such a kind Imam, such a beautiful Imam, such an Imam who is, whose love and whose mercy is greater than thousands of fathers. But these oppressors and these Banu Abbas Caliph, they could not tolerate the Imam. Narration says that the Mutawakkil Abbasi, he sent his troop to Medina and asked Harthama ibn Yahya, to bring Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam forcefully to Samarra. So when they brought Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam from Medina to Samarra, just imagine Imam alayhi salam, he is like a king. Imam alayhi salam, he is like a Shahzada in Medina Munawwara, is a son of Rasulullah. The respect, people they used to give, it was like a great personality. But when the same Imam is brought to Samarra, historian they have written that Mutawakkil Abbasi kept Imam in a Musafir Khana, or in a place which was very dirty and which was, not absolutely appropriate for the Imam status. And Imam alayhi salam, he spent a night over there, and then he was brought to the Samarra. In Samarra, a time comes, Imam alayhi salam, he is living in Samarra. Some people, those who are adulating people to the Mu'taz Billah Abbasi. Mu'taz Billah Abbasi, the one who gave the poison to the Imam. And in the time of Mutawakkil Abbasi, also listen, this is very important, and this is something heartbreaking story. Mutawakkil Abbasi, one day, some people, they comes to Mutawakkil Abbasi and they said, "Oh Mutawakkil, Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, he is plotting against you. Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, he is, gathering weapon in his house, and he has planned to, rise against you." So Mutawakkil Abbasi, he command his, armed troop and asked them to attack on the house of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. So this troop, they come and they attack on the house of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. And they did not find anything in the house of Imam. And finally, they found that the Imam alayhi salam, he is in a room and he is sitting on the floor, on the soil, and he is facing the Qibla and reciting the ayah of the Quran and the tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they arrest Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, and the same situation, same condition, they bring Imam alayhi salam to the presence of Mutawakkil Abbasi. Mutawakkil Abbasi, at that juncture, he was intoxicated with the wine, and he was with his people and enjoying, and he was busy in amusement. Narration says when Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam was brought to Mutawakkil Abbasi, when he was intoxicated and he is having the glass of wine in his hand. So a historian, they have written that when Imam alayhi salam reaches to his darbar, or his place, Mutawakkil Abbasi out of sudden started respecting, fa'azzamahu, started respecting the Imam, and he gave space to Imam al-Hadi next to him. And then this Mal'oon, he offered wine to Imam alayhi salam. Imam alayhi salam, he said, "Wallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved our blood and our flesh and our skin from the wine, or from the najis and haram things. So you forgive me. So you should keep this wine away from us." So Mutawakkil Abbasi, he removed the wine from Imam, and then he said to Imam, because he is intoxicated, he said to Imam, "Oh Imam al-Hadi, can you recite poetry for me?" Imam alayhi salam refuses, but this man, he insists on Imam, and he said, "No, you have to recite poetry for us. You have to, say something." So narration says Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, by force, reluctantly, he started, reciting the poetry. But this poetry, it was not about the dunya. Imam alayhi salam, he recited poetry about the ma'rifah and understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mentioning over there the chastisements of the sins and the consequences of this in the hereafter. Historian, they have written when Imam alayhi salam was reciting the poetry about Allah and about the chastisements of hereafter, so at that juncture, their whole party situation is changed. So Mutawakkil Abbasi and all his people, they throw their wine on the floor and they started crying. And at that juncture, Imam alayhi salam was freed from Mutawakkil Abbasi. Mutawakkil Abbasi, he said, "Yeah, Imam, you go to your house." And 4,000 dinar he presented to the Imam. Just imagine, Imam who is ma'asum, who is the son of Rasulullah, who is appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is humiliated by these type of people. And this man, he is offering sharab to the Imam, and Imam is excusing from it. He is forcing Imam to recite the recite the poetry for him. And Imam alayhi salam, he is reciting the ayat of the Quran and the understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Hadi, wallahi, he was very mazloom. Yes, of course, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam was brought to a person who is a drunk person. But just imagine, I would say to the Imam al-Hadi, Ya Imam al-Hadi, you are very lucky. When you were brought to Mutawakkil Abbasi while he was in the state of intoxication, Ya Imam, you were all alone. You were not with your family. Just come to the Karbala, just come to the Sham and Kufa. In Kufa, Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, he is having wine. In Sham, Yazid ibn Muawiyah, he kept the head of Imam al-Hussein in front of him and the wine is next to him, and he is having and he is holding a stick in his hand, and Ahlul Bayt, they all are sitting before the Yazid. Bibi Zainab before Yazid, Kulsum, she was before Yazid, Sayyid al-Sajjad, all the ladies, captive ladies, they were in front of the Yazid, and Yazid, he is having a stick in his hand, and he is, hitting that stick on the teeth of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn, a Sahabi of, Rasulullah stood up, and he said, Oh Yazid, wallahi, I have seen in the time of Rasulullah that Rasulullah kisses these lips. Oh Yazid, I have seen that Rasulullah kisses that neck which you are hitting with this stick. Wallahi, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, when he was given poison by Mu'taz Billah al-Abbasi, Imam al-Askari, he was all there, and Imam al-Askari alayhi salatu salam, he stood up and he arranged the funeral of his father. He gave ghusl and he gave shroud, kafan to his father, and then he buried him in the same house where the Imam alayhi salatu salam used to live him. And when Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu salam was buried, so Imam al-Askari alayhi salatu salam, he opened the button of his shirt and showing his lamenting and showing his grief over his father. But I would say to Imam al-Askari, Ya Imam al-Askari, when your father departed from this dunya, you are very lucky that you gave the ghusl and kafan. But come to Karbala, when Abu Abdullah al-Hussein body is lying on the land of Karbala, Sayyid al-Sajjad, he was so helpless that his hand was fastened with the rope, and Imam Sayyid al-Sajjad's soul is about to depart from his body, and Imam Sayyid al-Sajjad, he is answering to his auntie, Oh Zainab, auntie, don't you see that the father is lying, his dead body is lying on the soil of Karbala, but his son is so helpless that he is not able to give the ghusl and kafan to his father. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi rajiun. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our ibadat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive the sins of our marhumeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate the status of our marhumeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to inculcate the teaching of Imam al-Hadi into our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to recite Quran and act upon the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help those who are in difficult condition. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfill the hajat of all hazirin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support the mu'mineen, those who are oppressed by the zalimin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the mazlumeen of Gaza, mazlumeen of Lebanon, mazlumeen of Parachanar and all across the world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eradicate the dhulm of zalimin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala weaken the power of enemy of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of our Imam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordain us among the supporter and the ansar of our Imam. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rahim Allah man qara al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Hussein, Ya Hussein. शहीद ज़हर जफ़ा जाने फ़ातिमा ज़हरा میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا تھے 6 برس کے اٹھا سر سے باپ کا سایہ، باپ کا سایہ، یتیم ہو گئے طفلی میں تھے امام ہدا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا کیا طلب متوکل نے بھیج کر نامہ، بھیج کر نامہ، گئے امام تو پھر شاہ دین کو قید کیا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی نقی نبھائی سنت سجاد اس طرح سے گئی، اس طرح سے گئی، تھا 12 سال اسیری میں جو میرا مولا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام نقی شہ والا ہوا ہے دادا حسن کی طرح سے ظلم و ستم، ہائے ظلم و ستم، ملا جو زہر تو ٹکڑے ہوا جگر پارا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی مدینہ چھوڑ کے جیسے حسین نکلے تھے، ہائے نکلے تھے، وطن کو چھوڑ کے غربت میں وہ شہید ہوا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی والا پلا کے زہر امام علی نقی کو رضا، علی نقی کو رضا، یوں معتزل نے دکھایا ہے دل محمد کا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا شہید زہر جفا جانے فاطمہ زہرا میرے امام علی نقی شہ والا یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین اللہم صلی علی محمد.
السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم یا امیر المؤمنین، السلام علیکم یا فاطمۃ الزہرا، السلام علیکم یا خدیجۃ الکبریٰ، السلام علیکم یا حسن المجتبیٰ، السلام علیکم یا ابا عبد اللہ الحسین وعلی تسعۃ المعصومین من ذریتک علی بن حسین ومحمد بن علی وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلی بن موسى ومحمد بن علی وعلی بن محمد والحسن بن علی والحجة بن الحسن عجل اللہ فرجا وسهل اللہ مخرجا وظہورا. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. اللہم کل ولیک الحجت ابن الحسن صلواتک علیہ وعلی آبائہ في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. سورة مباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.